Grace and peace. Welcome to Spreading Truth Ministry, and thank you so much for listening. Today, we need to talk about New Year's. Yes, the New Year's, the holiday. We just came out of celebrating the holiday for those that celebrated January 1st, 2015, New Year's Eve. Those that are in America, and of course we know the customs that are associated for those that are Americans. No, we know that obviously the change of the year, New Year's resolutions, looking back at the past year and making some changes and adjustments to our life in the up and coming year. We have Father Time associated with New Year's. We have Baby New Year associated with New Year's. We have New Year's Rockin' Eve associated with New Year's, and Times Square and the ball and the countdown. We have, the screaming of Happy New Year and the celebrations that occur and the parties and the champagne, and we have the fireworks. We have in some neighborhoods the guns and the shootings that happen during New Year. So we all know all the different customs and the rituals that are associated around New Year's that happen every year. That's been happening for quite some time. But you know what? You'll be surprised to know if you're not knowledgeable in regards to the origin of New Year. We're going to talk about it today, and you'll be surprised to know that these customs are not very new. As a matter of fact, they're customs of the past that we have incorporated in our society today. And so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, especially for those that are believers and Christians, but New Year's Day, New Year's Eve is rooted in paganism. And I discovered that a while ago, but for whatever reason, sometimes stuff just gets in the way. You know what I mean? Meaning, your own situation, my own situation, my life gets in the way from me, putting out videos. But I told God something today, and I meant it from everything from within me. I said, God, if you do something for me, I need you to do something for me. If you do this particular thing for me, I'll do what you want me to do. I'll do what you want me to do. And so as I saw all the shout outs and the saints going in and doing things, with associated with the new year, I said, you know what? I think I need to do a video. And so here we are. And so it's simple. It's simple. We're in an age of technology. So everything's in plain sight. So all the knowledge and the information that I'm about to share with you, you can Google it yourself. You can get the information. As a matter of fact, I'm going to point to a couple of websites that you can go to, that you can read for yourself and see for yourself, or actually watch a video for yourself. And as we know, YouTube is a hub, for information, some good and some bad, but it's a hub for information. So you can definitely try there too. I'm sure there's a numerous of videos in regards to New Year's, along with all the other pagan holidays, I'm sure. But I had to jump on the bandwagon just to share what information that I've discovered and what changed my life. And so it's interesting because yes, I used to go to watch night services. I didn't go all the time, but every now and then I would go because I'm a believer, and I love going to church. So somebody tell me they're having a service and they invite me, I'll go and I associate, I'll fellowship. I had no problem with that. But I personally wasn't necessarily, at least in my mind and heart, I wasn't celebrating the New Year because of information that I knew about it. I knew there was paganism. It was rooted in paganism, but I would go and associate. But I'm at the stage in life where I don't want to affiliate or associate or connect with anything that may be nearly remotely close to offending God. And so, as we know, just like the commandments say, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So when I discovered that this particular day was in commemoration or in honor of a particular God, that like took me back some, and so it really did something for me. So, when you go on History Channel, let's go there first. It talks about the early calendar, and of course it traces back to the Babylonians. I mean, it goes way back. But to bring you forward, Rome, the Emperor Julius Caesar is the one who instituted January 1st. Okay, obviously there were some issues with the calendar at the time. It fell out of sync with the sun, so they had to choose another first day of the year. And so, in honor of the god, which was actually January was named after a god, Janus. So in honor of the month's namesake, which was Janus, the Roman god of beginnings, they decided to have January 1st as the first day of the year. The Roman god Janus, the god of beginnings, has two faces, which denotes duality. The two faces allow him to, one looks back to the past and the other one looks forward to the future. Think about it. It's kind of ironic how oftentimes around this time of year people are constantly looking back and then looking forward. That is our custom to do that, and now we know why. The Romans celebrated it by offering sacrifices to Janus, by exchanging gifts, by decorating their homes with laurel branches, and by having these lavish parties. This is what they did unto Janus. So the whole day was not just to fix a problem, which they had with their calendar, but it was to honor the god Janus. That's the institution of New Year's. And so that's why it was instituted. That is the origin of New Year's. And so it was changed for a season, and then it was reinstituted back by Pope Gregory the 13th. It was reestablished in 1582. And so that is the reason why New Year's is what New Year's is today. And then again, you'll see the same symbolisms as it was when it was instituted, the same kind of ways of celebrating back in what was it, 46 BC, as it is in 2015. Nothing has changed. The same practices, the same traditions, the same rituals, for the exception of us not necessarily offering up something in the name of Janus, but we're definitely doing it in the spirit of Janus. By looking back and looking forward, that is in the spirit of Janus. So because of that reason, I find myself wanting to totally disassociate with the day in its entirety. I don't want to associate it all whatsoever because of that. And I am not a person where, I'm gonna say this, I advocate truth, I promote truth, I teach truth as I know it. There might be some things that I may not know. There might be some practices that I practice that are not like God, that I'm not even aware of. You know what I'm saying? But here's my heart. If I find out something that is not like God, I'm going to turn from it. I'm going to reject it. And Satan is such a copycat. He is such a counterfeit, because God said in his word in Exodus the 12th chapter, verse 2, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. And it was talking about Abib. So God already has a month to the people of God that is the beginning of months unto them. That is the beginning of the year unto them. Though we celebrate, those that celebrate the Feast of Trumpets and Yom Teruah, we celebrate, and because Feast of Trumpets, because God says we should celebrate the Feast of Trumpets as the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet. But it is also, Yom Teruah also has a change of year. That's why the Jews celebrate, Rosh Hashanah. But God told his people in Exodus, the 12th chapter, to celebrate Abib as the beginning of the months. So it's so important that we understand God's word in 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, verse 17, where it says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Even when Jesus prayed and he was talking to the Father, he said, you know what? They're not of this world. They're not of the world, even as I'm not of the world, And so it's so important that I sanctify them. And it's so important that we remain sanctified. And so I'm sharing this truth so that you can become sanctified if you're not sanctified, that you can set yourself apart and not associate with the practice if you really, truly want to please the Lord. And if you don't understand it, or if you don't see it, my prayer is that the Lord will give you understanding so that you can make the necessary adjustment. And I am not the one that knows all truth. And, again, there may be some things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing or whatever that I am not knowledgeable of. But my prayer is this: Father, if whatever it is that I may be doing that's not of you, show me so that I can change my ways, because I want to be pleasing in his sight. That is so my prayer, and that is my prayer for you, that whatever necessary adjustments that have to be made so that you can be pleasing in your sight, that you'll be daring enough to do it, bold enough to do it, anointed enough to do it, and inclined enough to do it, and persuaded enough to do it. And not concerned with how other people feel about it. Yes, I was concerned about my family because I love my family. I want my family to know that I'm not trying to push them to the side or reject them because of my stance for the truth. I still love them, but God's word is true. And so He comes first. And so I love you. That's why I share this. And I hope that you love me too and that you'll continue to keep me in prayer as I keep you in prayer, because God's truth must continue on. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Shalom.